Right now at 6, we may be over the pandemic.
I'm overstressing out about stuff like
Me
this.
too.
And it just took up too much time, 2 years, right?
But the pandemic is not over us.
I think the level of concern will depend on how worried you are about getting an infection.
With cases rising across the country and restrictions going back into place, we look at what the future holds for Colorado.
Students want to celebrate our differences.
When kids are exposed to differences at a young age, it helps them understand and develop more empathy.
State education leaders want to hide them away until a later time.
Leaving these kinds of discussions of sex out of classrooms does not inflame the divisions.
Plus, the celebration is just getting underway for the Pios and their 9th national championship.
Good evening to you, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. I think life has felt pretty normal lately. We've had fully maskless, packed St. Patty's Day parade downtown Denver last month. Friday, we had a big party for the Rockies home opener.
COVID is making health officials rethink these relaxed restrictions. On Monday, Philadelphia will become the first major city to bring back an indoor mask mandate.
So what's the real possibility that that could happen in Colorado, and would people be willing to follow along with new restrictions?
Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez kicks off our 360 in-depth coverage, starting with reaction from Colorado's top docs.
Living with the pandemic for the last 2 years has caused some to feel a sense of fatigue.
I'm overstressing out about stuff like
Me
this.
too.
And it just took up too much time, 2 years, right? It's been over 2 years.
For others, as nice as it seemed to feel normal over the last couple of months, concerns linger.
Feels like it's almost normal, but I can see the threat coming from somewhere.
Right now, that somewhere is in the northeastern region of the country, where cases have risen as much as 64% in recent days. An increase western states are likely to see within weeks, but local health experts say what they've been saying all along: the most at risk are the unvaccinated population.
While we are likely to see another upsurge in transmission and some higher case volume, like other parts of the U.S. are starting to see now, I don't think we've got major concerns about seeing the same high levels of hospitalization and deaths, because we do have significant protections in place now, especially through vaccination.
Colorado is currently seeing low hospitalization rates with a slight uptick in cases. The state health department tells Denver 7 it is closely monitoring the new variant to help anticipate potential changes, and also believes there's a high level of immunity because of vaccination and prior infection. Still, Dr. Barron with UC Health says a potential increase in cases remains important.
At the end of the day, the goal still should be to try and protect yourself from getting any of these strains and not just be completely dismissive or fatalistic that I'm going to get it anyway, so I might as well get it over with.
If hospitalizations and deaths do increase over time, some would be in favor of mass returning indoors.
Personally, I don't mind as long as it prevents the COVID from becoming worse.
If people want to wear it, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's what we're doing.
I'm not gonna judge
we were
that.
Bottom line, there's another variant out there and another chance Colorado will have to consider pandemic prevention protocols. Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
And the state reported 1,100 new cases of COVID today, and that is still well below the highs that we saw over the holiday season during the Omicron surge.
So let's give you an idea of what most Americans currently are thinking about this pandemic. Axios put together a survey asking Americans if they thought COVID was still a crisis. Less than 10% of people surveyed saw COVID as a crisis. 3 in 4 called the pandemic a manageable problem. And 1 in 6 people said the pandemic was not a problem at all anymore. Now, as we've seen across our state, more than a third of people surveyed said they've already gone back to their regular pre-pandemic lives.
And mask mandates no longer exist in our state, haven't now for months. The only place you still have to wear a mask is at DIA, and that rule could change on Monday. The CDC should weigh in this week on whether the federal mask mandate for public transportation should expire Monday as planned. Now, a White House rep says they are looking at all possibilities.
I think everything is still on the table. We don't want to prejudge this. We want to look at what the evidence says and what the framework shows, and then use that as a decision-making tool.
DIA has followed federal guidelines all pandemic long and will continue to do so. And just yesterday, DIA was named the 3rd busiest airport in the world. And there's no word yet if increased traffic at the airport would impact this. So, your turn. Let's hear from you. How are you handling the pandemic? Are you over it? Are you prepared to wear masks again if needed? Send your thoughts to 360@thedenverchannel.com.
The State Board of Education currently is deciding on new standards for its social studies curriculum. A committee revising those standards originally wanted LGBTQ contributions worked into it, but after public feedback, that recommendation has been removed. Denver 7's Micah Smith was there as the board discussed possible changes today.
After a committee suggested the State Board of Education strip references to the LGBTQ community from school curriculum before the 4th grade, board members passionately voiced their opinions.
Public discussion in front of kindergartners of sex is not appropriate.
If you say this family has 2 dads, you're just saying they're 2 dads. It's a gender identification. It is not sexual education.
Outside the State Department of Education's walls, students and parents are also weighing in.
I think that not only is the suggestion unnecessary, it's actually harmful.
Northfield High School student Jude Rusha identifies as gay and uses they/them pronouns. Rusha says if the state board decides to exclude LGBTQ references, it will further isolate students like them.
When kids are exposed to differences at a young age, it helps them understand and develop more empathy.
But some say including LGBTQ references will lead to conversations about sex.
Leaving these kinds of discussions of sex out of classrooms does not inflame the divisions. It makes the discussion of those issues more relevant and more appropriate at a later age.
While some parents disagree with board member Steve Durham, there are many who do agree. Like mother of 3 Brittany Kay, who says, quote, gender identity and sexual preference are absolutely not something that should be a part of the curriculum for a 6-year-old. But Nadine Bridges, the executive director of One Colorado, an LGBTQ advocacy organization, says this has nothing to do with sex.
Just like any discussion, we want to make sure that we are holistically representing everyone who has contributed to the United States.
Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
The State Board of Education is meeting again tomorrow, and there will be a public comment period during that time.
Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse unveiled a legislative package today focusing on safety in the workplace. And it comes 1 year after 10 people were killed inside a Boulder King Superstore. The bills would expand worker safety, increase mental health and trauma support, as well as adding preventative security measures to workplaces.
Now, I want to be clear. These steps are not mutually exclusive to the need to ultimately address gun violence in our communities. And I'll continue each and every day that I have the honor of representing our community in Washington to push for common sense gun violence prevention measures.
Neguse says this is just the start of the conversation in trying to end mass shootings. Now, we have a description of all 4 bills of this package on thedenverchannel.com.
Alex Ewing was given another life sentence today. Ewing today was sentenced for the 1984 murder of 50-year-old Patricia Smith of Lakewood. Ewing's life sentence will be served along with 3 other life sentences he is serving for the murder of the Bennett family in Arapahoe County, also in '84. The case was solved in 2018 thanks to DNA testing. A Golden man's been arrested in connection with catalytic converter thefts in the area specifically destroyed by the Marshall Fire. Edgar Antion Bencomo faces theft and 3rd-degree criminal trespass charges. Police say an officer found a suspicious truck registered out of Texas parked in the driveway of one of the destroyed homes. That truck belonged to Antion Bencomo, and police say they found stolen catalytic converters inside. Denver 7 Investigates recently went in depth on why catalytic converter thefts are on the rise here, and you can find that report on Denver 7 Plus for your streaming device.
A large grass fire is currently burning in southern Colorado in Bent County. These are pictures sent into Denver 7 by viewers. The fire is burning near Fort Lyon, which is about 2 hours southeast of Colorado Springs, and we're still working to learn about any homes impacted and just exactly how big that fire is. And the EPA is proposing a reclassification of the Front Range's ozone status. The proposal would change the Front Range's status from a serious to severe violator of federal standards. Now, if this proposal is approved, many Colorado companies would be forced to obtain and comply with tougher air pollution permits. Gas stations would also be required to sell cleaner burning fuel during the summer season in 2024.
All right, let's have some fun. The celebration is just getting underway on the DU campus.
The school is celebrating the Pioneers hockey team, which won its 9th national championship in school history. That happens Saturday.
Incredible. Patrick Perez is live at Magnus Arena. I'm guessing there's a little bit of buzz out there tonight, Patrick.
Oh yeah, just a little bit, Shannon. I mean, no, just kidding. There's such a loud roar here from all of the fans in the stands. We can't show it to you because we're right behind us, but I want to show you what's going on right now. We're watching what is called a hype video. This is a video put together by university to show off this team's work. You can see the players all sitting right here next to that big balloon that says 9, all for their 9th title championship win. Things are just getting underway. We are expected to hear from Governor Polis, from Representative Diana Baguette, from Mayor Hancock, and from the captain and the coach of this team. They talk about what it's like to win again after 2017, how much this means to them, especially to see all of the fans here in the crowd, because many of them could not attend the game that took place in Boston, which is how they ended up winning this championship. But we'll definitely show you more of this fun evening here at DU's Magnus Arena coming up later tonight. Back to you guys.
It's going to be a fun night. Thanks, Pat.
Congrats to them. Thanks.
Strong winds keep blasting Colorado. A couple more days of it, but I think you'll like the extended forecast.
The rich are thriving in our housing market.
It still heavily favors sellers in the fact that there's a whole bunch of buyers out there and not a whole lot of homes to purchase.
And while investments are being made to bring lower income Coloradans up,
all of our traditional housing assistance programs really focus on the lower end of the income spectrum.
Those right in the middle are feeling forgotten.
Years ago, you're like, oh my God, I'm doing great. And now you're like, I'm just trying to survive.
We look at ways to help all Coloradans right after this break.